So if you do have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. We do welcome questions, we encourage questions, and we certainly want to address those questions. We may not stop the presentation to address those questions, and any questions that do not get answered will certainly circle back following the webinar with the publication of those questions. And so, without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. And, so, again, Moodle and Microsoft better together. First of all, let me introduce Remote Learner. Remote Learner has been one of the longest Moodle partners that have been around for quite a while. Since really the inception of the Moodle Partner Program. And just to kind of set the stage and make sure that we're all on the same page, Moodle was developed was developed by Martin Duguay-Amis and is 100% open source. As Moodle partners, we bring a number of different services as well as continued development and continued support of the Moodle program itself. So for those of you that are currently our customers, we welcome you to the webinar. For those of you that are would like more information, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you out with your learning endeavors. To basically set the stage for this, Remote Learner and Microsoft partnered up. It was not a strictly Remote Learner driven process. It wasn't, but Microsoft Open Technologies saw a gap there in Moodle that they needed to fill. And so partnering with Remote Learner, we have worked with Microsoft directly. Microsoft's worked with us. We have a strong working relationship there to get to these different solutions. Now, in the agenda today, we are going to go over just a brief overview with new features, getting started, and then, again, we'll have a short time for question and answering at the end. All right, so Moodle and Office traditionally have not played very well together, going way back to the beginning of Moodle. Moodle and Microsoft Word didn't play well. Moodle is a pure HTML, PHP environment, and Office content didn't work very well within those within that playground. So, beginning with Moodle 2.0, however, that did start to change quite dramatically, and we actually saw quite a lot of open source development, not necessarily in the Office 365 area, but in the Office Online content. And so Moodle provides courses, assignments, grading, events, controlled learning environments, and Office, of course, provides your productivity type of suite there. All right, so within this area, we do have two different solutions that we're introducing over the last couple of months. One is the Office 365 Business Solution. Includes single sign-on, calendar integration, OneDrive, and Sites integration. It also includes a new filter for bringing in mix files as well and presenting it directly within Moodle. And then we also have, for the Office Online environment, a OneDrive assignment. Now, some of you may be thinking, if you're straight Office 365, you may be thinking this looks great. There's some great new features. If you're Office Online client of Microsoft, then you may wonder why there wasn't already more, or wasn't more in the Office Online suite that was introduced. That's because a lot of the features that were there already integrated with Moodle. There's already a OneDrive for Office Online integration. And there are some different ways that you can pull in different public calendars and vice versa. What was really lacking was the Office 365 Business Solutions. So in a sense, we're catching Office 365 Business up, and then we'll work with them together moving forward to bring a consistent platform across all Microsoft solutions. All right, new capabilities within Office 365. Single sign-on, and this includes both Office into Moodle as well as from Moodle into Office. So not only is it just getting that user in, but it's also making sure that user has the correct access through the Moodle environment to see the content that may be stored in the OneDrive or to get access to the calendar. So it is a two-way street there. Calendar includes a Moodle calendar sync. So any calendar events that show up within Moodle, those can be auto-created based on the assignment of a due date of a testing date, and automatically be added to the course calendar. They may be personal additions, group additions to the Moodle calendar. Those now get carried over into the Office calendar as well. Okay. OneDrive and Sites, actually within the Office 365 Enterprise solution, we treat the OneDrive and Sites kind of through the same repository plugin for Business 360 or Office 365 Business. OneDrive is your personal files that you now have access to that you can pull into Moodle. Sites is more of a team shared drive. Almost has that feel of the old pre-Moodle 2 course files kind of directory there, with the advantage of not only the Moodle repository but the Office 365 repositories as well. Now, what is exciting within the Moodle Business repository is you can bring files from OneDrive or Sites into Moodle. However, you can also push files from Moodle back into OneDrive. So if as a course creator you're in the middle of developing a course and you never have to leave that Moodle course environment to get the files uploaded. So not only uploaded into Moodle, but uploaded directly into OneDrive and Sites as well for any additional sharing. Okay. And Office Online capabilities basically is a very fun, exciting integration with Moodle, again, 2.7 Plus and OneNote. And what happens here is there's a new assignment that's feedback and assignment submission type. As we'll see in a minute, it's not an actual new assignment. It's just a couple of plugins for an existing Moodle assignment that tie into OneNote Online. So students can work on their assignment, complete their assignment in OneNote, and submit it back into Moodle, as well as feedback can be provided by the teacher, again, from directly in Moodle or from within OneNote. All right, and the last is a filter, an Office Mix integration, and this uses the OEmbed filter that is not strictly just for Office Mix. We'll talk a little bit more about the OEmbed filter a little bit later, but if you have started using Mix, it is a service provided by Office through PowerPoint, allows you to record and create the mix of a PowerPoint presentation. Very powerful with a tablet whiteboard capability within the PowerPoint presentation, and to be able to save it out with voiceover, audio, etc. Recording those lectures, recording those, whether they're lectures or whether they're any other type of learning engagement, once a mix is made and is available in the Office Mix Online, then the URL can simply be embedded anywhere within Moodle, and the OEmbed filter will pick it up, recognize it as an Office Mix, and go ahead and play the video within the window, within the browsing window. So no additional plugins are required for the end user, and the only thing the course developer has to do is just grab that URL, paste it into the insert media box, and Moodle takes care of the rest. All right, benefits for learners and instructors and or course developers. Easy access, again, through the single sign-on process. Both easy access to the Moodle as well as easy access to information that may be in Office 365. You do pick up the ability to work offline. Working offline, whether it's the OneNote assignment, that once you have that assignment submission started, you can work not only offline but on any device anywhere within the Office OneNote. It is mobile friendly, so again, anywhere, any device. And with the Office Mix and with the MARC integration within how these plugins were built, they are largely classroom ready. Meaning that if you have a classroom and a course developer or a teacher that's normally using Moodle today, there's really not any new processes that they have to learn, just new location. All right, now we're going to enter that features walkabout kind of section. And I'm going to give a minute for my slide to catch up. There we go. So here we're going to deep dive down into some of the features, or all the features that we just introduced. All right. Again, we'll start with single sign-on. And I'll give the slide a minute to catch up here. Single sign-on works as you would expect. Simply is logging into your Office 365 account. And will then give you access not only to the Office 365 environment, the working environment that you're used to, but it also gives you the ability to add a Moodle tile directly into the app launcher. Okay, so once your users are logged into Office 365, they have access to all their tools. Of course, we call it Moodle. You can call it your university, online learning, whatever features that that you have it branded. Clicking on that Moodle tile will take the learners directly into the linked Moodle site. They will be logged in immediately, so they won't be stopped by a login screen. They'll be presented with the My Courses screen there, or whatever current home screen that you have ready to go there. So, logged in, working seamlessly. Now, if your users happen to go to the Moodle site first and click the login button, then they have access to logging in from the Moodle side via the Office 365 link there at the bottom. Now, if they are not logged in, they will need to sign in, provide their credentials into Office 365. And once they are, once they click the sign in button, then they'll be taken directly back to the Moodle environment. So clicking sign on takes them right back into the Moodle environment, and where they're presented with that home screen. So single sign-on, again, once we're signed in. Now you may have also noticed on one of those previous slides, you can still support direct login. Not all the accounts have to be through Office 365. And Active Directory. The Moodle site still supports manual login, so it'll still support any other authentication plugin type that you may have running currently on your site. So it's possible within your internal organization that you have your Office 365 login, and if you're reaching out to external clients, vendors, external learners to your organization, you can still have them log in via email authentication or manual authentication. It's definitely not an all or nothing type of environment on the single sign-on. All right, switching gears real quick, we'll jump into the calendar. Probably a very powerful feature within Moodle, but largely overlooked. And one of the nice things about the calendar is how it does integrate into the course components, the group components. I can have schedule group events with groups within my course. Anytime a teacher or course developer creates a due date within an assignment, within a quiz, within a learning activity, those activities are automatically added to the Moodle calendar. But I did say it's very underutilized. The calendar is somewhat underutilized in that it normally shows up as a little corner square, and few users in their normal day click on that calendar month to open up their full calendar view to get the full view. So Microsoft Moodle Remote Learner decided to approach the calendar integration next, and within that we did create a sync from the Moodle calendar into the calendar app within Office Online. So any activity that's added to Moodle automatically gets brought over into the Office Online calendar, and complete with times if times are added, so you can see what's due when. Now I will admit I'm going to be full disclaimer here. I did not start out on Econ 101. That was actually something that I added into Outlook, or into the calendar app. Sorry, but the point being here is that once that activity, once that resource is over into the calendar app, then users can use the calendar, multiple calendars, different, set up different calendars, and just simply tag those different events as coming from, not only coming from Moodle, but which class. If it's a study group, they can set up the reminders. They have all the features within the Microsoft Calendar app. And so, again, what comes over is the assignment due date and any description that is in there. So it's, again, easy to create those links directly back into Moodle. So now it does not go the inverse direction. Okay. One of the nice things about a calendar, or one of the fundamental flaws, is that you can have too many calendars. Within the integration, obviously the Office calendar is much more powerful than what you're going to find in Moodle, so that becomes the base calendar. Now, any items that are edited within Moodle, so if I'll take, for example, this assignment with the due date, if I come back in and change that to an actual assignment name, then those updates will come over, be brought over into the Moodle environment, or into the Office 365 calendar. Sorry. The first sync is a full sync. After that first sync is completed with that user, then just the updates are pushed back into Office 365. So anytime due dates change, content changes, that shows up in both places. Okay. All right. OneDrive and Share, the OneDrive integration. We'll start with the OneDrive side. Now, both OneDrive and Share are within the same OneDrive for Business repository, but as your users are opening and inserting, going to the file picker, selecting the file picker, then in their left-hand browser they'll see their OneDrive for Business availability. Now, within that OneDrive for Business, then they have a couple of options. One, again, they can select a file that already exists within the within their OneDrive, and or they can choose to upload a new file directly into OneDrive. Okay, again, all from the Moodle file picker. Okay. And so uploading a new file does a couple of things. One, it uploads it into Moodle, assumes that that's the file that you want to use, and so completes the file picker, also puts that file within OneDrive. Okay. When you go to select a file, there are a couple of options there. If it is a final file that is going to go into your course and there's not going to be any additional updates, you can make a copy of the file, bring it out of the OneDrive repository, store it within the Moodle repository, within that course, within that activity. So, so you can make it resident within the Moodle environment, and that simply creates a simple file link. Now, you'll notice also that I'm showing PowerPoint here. PowerPoint does not, it does not have to be a Office file. It doesn't have, I mean, it can be any file. It can be a image, it can be a graphic, it can be PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and those are going to bring those documents in as a link. Or I'm sorry, here it's going to download it, make it resident within Moodle. My other option is to create an alias or shortcut to the file. Now, this is creating an alias, which is simply a pointer file, you know, creating a pointer back to the original file within the Office 365 OneDrive. Okay. So once I have that file selected, I can always go back in, click Update to go back, grab the most recent version. Okay. So to some extent it does maintain versioning control. One thing to note, though, as well, is that it is, you know, it is playing by the OneDrive permissions with an alias or a link. So if I'm ever going to publish this course outside of my Office 365 organization, then, or if I need to create a publishable course, then I could also come into the same window and click the download at any time, and it will convert it from a link to a downloaded file, and again make that file resident to that activity within that course. Okay. That would allow me to then export the activity itself, back up and export the course, okay, or to archive it, and again make sure that that archive is going to have is going to be the snapshot of the course at that time and the snapshot of that file. Okay. All right. So again, OneDrive, taking a look from the OneDrive side. As I expect, I've got lots of files. Of course, the file I chose was down toward the bottom of the screen, but again, there's that file visible both in Moodle and within my OneDrive. So here I can then choose to take additional actions, publish it in multiple locations, use it where I need to have that file. Okay. Now, Share. Share is available on most Office 365 business accounts, specifically the majority, but when you do have Share, the repository does provide a courses repository as well. Now, the courses repository is different than the OneDrive repository in that courses is going to be located in a team site, which means that anybody, any teacher that is assigned to the Moodle course. So if I have a development course, I have 5 course developers in with the teacher role assigned, then within they can upload files directly into the courses folder, again, or download the files directly in the courses folder. But on the Office 365 side, within site contents, there's going to be a Moodle subsite. Within that subsite is going to be the course files. And within those course files are going, again, anybody with that teacher role can access that subsite from the Office 365 view as well. Again, it's the repository acts the same, behaves the same. The difference is instead of having 20 or 30 files, 20 or 30 graphics that are shared just between straight OneDrive sharing back and forth, your teaching team, your course development team have one directory that they can go to and see all those course files. All right, switching over to OneNote, and again, OneNote, the OneNote Office, or the OneNote integration works with Office Online. It can run concurrently with the Office 365 integration, but it is going to require a second login to access the Office Online, the public, the free version. So if you are in a mixed audience where you have people with an Office 365 business account and you have external participants to your training course, then tying it into that free account that's available is as beneficial as if you just have a simple Office Online solution. Okay. So within the Microsoft OneNote integration, there is a SignOn box that does present itself within the Moodle environment, and that is a block, so it can be placed anywhere within Moodle. Okay. And I will note that once a user has signed in, it's one of those smart blocks that once a user has signed in, that block does disappear or provides them direct access into their OneNote assignment or OneNote directory program. Okay. Now, from a teacher view, course developer, again, to activate the OneNote assignment, it is the same work process as building a normal assignment. I select an activity assignment and provide the name in the description, and it is important to note here that both the name and the description will come over into the Moodle environment. Sorry, on the screens I went a step too far, so so I could jump there. But the so if I'm in Moodle, create the assignment, provide the description. As a student, when I click to access it into OneNote, it's going to copy over the assignment name and the description into my OneNote. So, and as standard with Moodle, anything that you put in there, anything that you link in there, graphics, multimedia, is links are going to come over as well. And so, again, if you're working offline, you have all that, the whole description there within your OneNote notebook. Okay. Now, what's different is there are 2 additional checkboxes, and it comes down to submission types. So if this was a OneNote assignment, the course developer or teacher could simply select OneNote submission, and that I'm going to provide feedback via OneNotes. Okay. Now, you can mix and match all day long within these submission types. Moodle will support whatever you select, but at minimum for OneNote's assignments, the following 2 items need to be checked. Okay. All right, so we're going to take a student view. On the next slide, we're going to bring in Olivia. Olivia is one of our great sample students, and she accesses the assignment. Again, she sees the description, and she sees OneNote actions. Olivia is logged in to OneNote within this screen. If she was not logged in, then she would be given, a prompt to log in to OneNote. Okay. Since she is simply clicking the Work on This button, we'll open up her OneNote Online, copy over the assignment description, and provide her all the capabilities to respond, create that response within OneNote. All right, teacher view, switching sides for a second here. So Olivia has completed her action. She's submitted it back into, and it is worth noting that the student does have to come back into Moodle and let the teacher, let Moodle know that, yes, I am done working on this, I am submitting it, and they click the Save button, and it goes into the assignment. Okay. Now, the way that it comes in, it is version aware. Okay, and that's important to note because it does take a snapshot in a couple of different ways once it gets into the submission status. Okay, so once it's submitted for grading, anytime the teacher clicks on View Submission or they download it as a zip file, they're going to see that version that the student submitted. So even if the student has come back and changed it, they forgot to add something, they came back in after they submitted it for grading, after the due date, made a change, those changes may be visible within their OneNote, but the teacher is going to see that which they submitted. Okay, so, and of course the teacher can allow resubmissions and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's important to note it was one of the in the field testers. It was very important that the teacher is going to always see what was submitted or the current update. Okay. Now, clicking on grade into the grade screen does give the teacher, that's where the add feedback comes in. So the teacher can provide the grade, click on the OneNote action to add feedback, and that's going to open up a second tab for Olivia to see that has the teacher feedback in there as well. So as you can see kind of on the expanded view on the far left, you've got the Office Online integration, which is the course that we're in, and then you have the assignment submissions. Now, obviously, we're looking at this with one student. A teacher that's teaching multiple students would see the multiple entries there, have a chance for the feedback. The student's only going to see that which they submitted and that feedback that's associated with them. Okay. One thing that's nice within here is that you do get all of the features of OneNote. So if you want to create question tags, if you want to create idea tags, checkboxes that the teacher needs to, or the student needs to go back in. Teachers may also respond directly on the submission, and that's important to note as well. So if it is a draft, it's a working draft, then teachers can make those same type of annotations directly on the directly on the assignment. Now, another thing that's worth noting here is that the description and the assignment description is copied over, so that it's there for learners to continue to work. At any time, that assignment description can be deleted before submission, so that you're just getting the student's response. But it is there to support the offline initially. All right, switching into Office Mix. It is a free tool for interactive online lessons. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with Mix. It's a very exciting new tool that Microsoft is rolling out. Does expand that authoring experience. It is a PowerPoint add-in. Okay? You do have to have a local version of PowerPoint running within a Windows environment to author Mix. And once it is shared out via the cloud, then it is open for it's visible within any browser window, within any device. But to author it, you do need to be on a Windows with the local version of PowerPoint currently. Future versions of Mix will hopefully integrate in with more local computers or with the Office Online. As it continues to mature and develop. Okay. You can provide interactive elements within the Mix itself, including quizzes, polls, custom interactive elements, and others. So it is a very powerful tool. Right now, those quizzes won't come back. The scoring won't ride back into Moodle, but that is one of the areas that we're continuing to develop and hope that we can move into where the information can be passed back into the Moodle environment. Okay. There are two plugin suites here that we've covered, and it's important to note that they are suites. They're not a single plugin. They do work together quite a bit. If you have Office 365, then there's the Office 365 plugins that includes the single sign-on authentication, the Office Mix filter integration, the OneDrive repository, and the calendar sync. On the Microsoft Services side, Microsoft Online is the OneNote integration, is the new plugin suite, and the Office Mix integration as well. So there's a number of additional plugins there that both include the blocks to support the OneNote, and the OneNote Assignment is actually a submission plugin and a feedback plugin. Okay. Now, when Microsoft set out to create these plugins and build the plugins, they were looking at an open source solution. So these are available on Moodle.org. They are available off of GitHub that you can bring in as normal plugins. If you are a remote learner client, then, and if you are on at least Moodle 2.7 or higher, then those plugins are also available under the Update Manager. So the important thing is when you're installing is to make sure you get all the plugins that are relevant. Recommended that you install both the Microsoft Services and Office 365, but if you're just installing Office 365 plugin, then realize that's a suite. There's about 4 or 5 plugins that need to be installed within your Moodle site. Microsoft Services, again, there's some integrations there that there's about 2 or 3, and then the Office Mix, which is again, it's just a filter. So we like to state that these plugins were developed the Moodle way, and I'm a huge fan of Microsoft. I've used Microsoft since the very before there was Office, and I've always been a big fan of Microsoft. But Microsoft has not always been a good fan of open source, nor of some of the open source movements such as Moodle. And so we feel like this slide is very important just to let the community know that these plugins were not developed in a secret office at Microsoft and pushed out. They were actually developed by remote learner with feedback from Microsoft. They are fully open source plugins. There was a lot of collaboration between both Moodle partners and the user community. And Microsoft didn't necessarily set out to reinvent everything either. And remote learner certainly didn't, it wasn't our goal to reinvent. But in the case of 2 of these plugins, there was already an existing plugin that was out there that was close. And so both the OIDC plugin and the OEmbed plugin were close where the additional functionality was added to them. And especially in the OEmbed plugin area, the developer was the original embed plugin we reached out to and actually brought it under remote learner Microsoft development, so there's continued support. There's a guaranteed continued to support with the OEmbed and the OIDC plugin. But having said that, they're not just plugins for Microsoft Office. They also support many different programs and environments that are out there as well. So the OEmbed, again, just Office makes you can see the list there, and that's a short list. There's actually quite a few more embed environments that it does support, as well as support lazy loading of the embedded content as well. Okay. And there is an ongoing commitment to the future roadmap for Moodle. Okay. So what does that roadmap look forward, look toward within remote learner, open text? Again, we're committed. This is the first round of releases. Now we're looking, we've gotten almost a level playing field between the two Office environments. And we'll continue to work toward that leveling, but also we'll work to continue to improve both document embedding, OneNote for business integration, as Microsoft releases new features. We're right there, make sure that they can integrate in, like video. Actually, you can pull that video straight in from Office 365 as well. Okay. Open source content is really developed from the bottom up, and it is a fun direction. So, on Moodle.org, there are plenty of places for content to be shared, comments to be shared. We are actively monitoring all those comments and continue to push forward and develop and expand. We're also looking to expand into the non-English markets. We're bringing in multiple Moodle partners in other markets as well to share the technology. So, again, open source plugins available for all. Now, I will kind of wrap up and on the Q&A slide, but I will also note on here that at the bottom there is a link, remote-learner.net, Microsoft Solutions. We have a couple of different teams within Remote Learner that have been working with these plugins. We have a couple of different solutions to help integrate the plugins into your individual environments beyond just loading it, but also working in within the workflows and within the permissions. One of those is a Microsoft Essentials Smart Start solution. It'll work with your deployment team to make sure that the plugins are all installed, configured, and then everybody has the knowledge not only of how it works, but best practices and within your individual environment. If you run into issues where every Moodle environment is different, every audience is different, and so there are definitely best practices for different implementations. Okay. So with that, I'll put in a plug for Learning Spaces as well. We are actually working within Learning Spaces, which is our online training platform, to not only simply create a Microsoft Center, but also integrate the content down into different individual courses where it makes sense for the Microsoft content, and have that available for those organizations and individuals that use Learning Spaces and the Microsoft solution. Make sure that they have access for course developer, teacher training, as well as admin training as well. All right, I want to thank you for your time. I know we've probably got a slew of questions. I've been seeing the comments going back and forth, just with my little bubble icon that's showing up. But I do want to say that we've captured all the questions, and we will get not only a copy of the slide deck, a copy of the recording, but we'll also address any of the questions, within a separate mailer back out, a separate email back out this afternoon. So we have a fairly large group today, and so I wanted to make sure that we get the best answers in the most concise fashion back. So we'll record those back. We'll address those and get those back to you. On behalf of Remote Learner, Microsoft, and Moodle, I want to thank you for your attendance here to the Remote Learner, Moodle, and Microsoft integration. And we're excited about this integration. There's a lot of power here that can be flexed on both sides, and we look forward to seeing where the community takes it, and look forward to continued development and strong working relationship with Microsoft and Moodle. So again, thank you for your time, and I hope that y'all have a great rest of the day or evening or night, depending on where you are. So yeah, thank you.